students, welcome to High Point once again, a best place to get contents related to English language and literature. Today we are going to learn about post-structuralism, deconstruction and cultural studies. How post-structuralism or deconstructional theories are helpful in studying cultural studies or cultural elements in cultural studies. Okay, that's what we are going to look at. By the way, I hope that the previous videos in this lecture series were useful in your NET JRF preparations of English language and literature, and the previous video was about structuralism and cultural studies. If you have any doubts, please contact me. You can message me in this number, WhatsApp number I have given here. You can message me directly in this number, and also we are maintaining a WhatsApp group in this number. If you want to join this WhatsApp group, in which I am sharing daily quiz, question and answer, news and updates related to NTA, UGC, NET, JRF, English language and literature, as well as some study materials related to it, related to the same. You want to join? If you want to join, you can directly message me in this number. I share the link, you can join, or you can go to the description box and click the link and join. And along with that, I'm sharing lot of free materials in a daily basis, such as I'll tell you something, such as study materials, short videos, reels, and in especially on every Mondays we are having Monday morning quiz about a particular subject in my Instagram story, especially dedicated to a particular topic, and you can actually lively attempt all these quiz questions that are there in Instagram story. Okay, so if you want to have all these free materials, want to have all these things in your preparations, then you can definitely follow me on Instagram. My ID is right here, and you can have all these free materials. Okay, and also suggest your friends to join and follow me on Instagram as well. So don't forget to visit my website as well, and if you are looking for some systematically arranged, well explained, simplified study materials for your NET JRF preparations, then go and visit my website www.highpoint.in and have the free trial. Log in for the free trial and also see what we have provided there. See, we have simplified the entire NTA syllabus for you under 10 subjects, and you can see them all. Whatever contents we have provided there, you will see 900 plus audio lectures and 300 plus PDF materials which are downloadable, and also the whole set of previous and practice question papers for you to lively attempt in the website and know your marks and progress instantly after the submission of your responses. So you can come back to this the whole materials that we have provided there as many times as possible. There is no restriction once you are a student there in our course. So if you are interested and if you wanted to be a part of family as a student, then you can go for the subscription of the courses, either of the courses. So once you join for the courses, you will get more, especially you will get 2 bonuses like weekly tests in every Saturdays about pre-announced topics, and also you will get a personalized study guideline, and these 2 things will make you persistent and consistent in your studies and always make you aware of your goals and your why you have subscribed to these courses. Okay, so if you want to know more, please don't hesitate to message me in this given number, or from directly my website you can message me in this number, or you can message me on Instagram too. So don't wait for the next NTA UGC NET notification to come. To start your learning, start early and revision your materials early, and we will help you in all these things. So more than this bonus, we are actually planning many things for our students in 2022, like sessions, webinars and classes, live classes about topics, and doubt clearing sessions and motivational sessions, and like that many more things we are planning in my website, in my course, as well as on Instagram too. We are planning to have live sessions as well as IG videos and all. So many more things we are planning. So don't forget to follow and visit all these things that I have mentioned if you are interested. So moving on, let's have today's topic, post-structuralism or deconstruction in cultural studies. Okay, so about this video we will have an introduction, and about when we think about post-structuralism or deconstruction, we have to remember definitely whom Jacques Derrida and his concept of difference and difference we will discuss from the point of view of cultural studies, and also Michel Foucault's theory of or his viewpoints of power or knowledge, and this will be followed by a conclusion. Now let's have the introduction. Post-structuralism and deconstruction come after structuralism, being skeptical about structuralism. So post-structuralism, like the term indicates, it comes after structuralism. Whatever was there as structuralism, it comes after that, not as a continuation of structuralism, but as something like skeptical about structuralism or questioning many tenets of structuralism. So about structuralism, in the previous video while we were discussing about structuralism and cultural studies, we have briefly seen what is structuralism. So let me tell you even briefly now today. Structuralism is all about structure, especially linguistic structure that we can find in a text, in a work. So structure, when I mention about a literary text, it is not the formalistic structure that we can see in a text. See, for example, in a poetry you will have a structure of a poem. In a drama you have a structure of a drama. In a novel or short story or a prose, you have a structure according to that particular genre. I'm not telling about that formalistic structure when we are discussing structuralism. Structuralism is something so deep and so so wide when it comes to structuralism. Structure in structuralism is of linguistic structure. There are various structure that actually made it possible to happen this text. That means patriarchy is a structure, feminism is a structure, race is a structure. So in that way, these structures, see, according to these structures that are there in the author's mind or there in the author's reader, you can find out various structures in a work. There will be a dominant structure, but more than that, in a work you can find various structure that enables you, that your consciousness about various structures present in a work, that enables you to read a work in different kind of ways. Takes the example of Dickens novels. Dickens novels it mainly talks about European stories, and it portrayed Asian or Indian or non-European people as something shady or something subhuman or something not that cultural or civilized, right? But a very superficial reading of Dickens' works won't come up with this kind of a notion in your mind. When you look at other structures, post-colonial structures, or you can see that colonial kind of ideologies inside Dickens' works, then only Edward Said could come up with such an idea, that culture and imperialism. Okay, Edward Said is the one who put forward the idea of Orientalism, that we will see in detail while we discuss about post-colonialism. But still, what make you to enable to read a particular text in different ways? It is structuralism, your knowledge about structure. That, even though you are reading a work, you can have feministic kind of readings. You can have, most of the works are written, especially before the second half of the 20th century, written based on the structure of patriarchy. So what will be there in its structure? What is the structure of a structure? So the dominant or whatever structure is there, the structure will have a center. So I'll give you a classical example of this point, that if you suppose you are sitting in a train and there are many other trains are there on the track, railway track, and you feel that your train is moving. So you feel that your train is moving, but how could you know that whether your train is moving or some other train that is already there on the track is moving? How will you know that? You will immediately look at the platform, whether that platform is moving, your perception about that platform, whether it is moving, you feel that that platform is going away from you and it is moving, then definitely your train is the one that is moving, right? So in order to know that meaning, whether the train is moving, whether the train in which you are sitting is moving, then you will immediately refer to platform. Whether it is moving, then my train is also moving, right? So see, immediately in order to make the meaning, you are referring to a sender. Here this platform is acting as a sender. Okay, so that is what exactly will happen in a structure. In a structure there will be a sender, okay, and whatever that sender is approving, you can have that kind of perception. Who all are not approved by this sender in this structure, all are marginalized. So there will be a sender and a margin for this structure. Okay, so these two things are essential in a structure. There is no structure which has no sender and which has no margin, because without any margin you just cannot locate a sender, and if there is a sender, then definitely there will be marginalized concepts. Suppose there is no platform for you to look at and know whether your train is not moving. So if the same way, if a structure is removed of its sender, there will be lot of structures, lot of senders will be there. And if the structure stop being a binary opposition, structure will work through binary oppositions. While one is marginalized, the other one is dominant. Male and female, in which male is prominent while female is subjugated, it is marginalized. So it will push to margins and male will be sender. So if you are more close to the sender, that powerful you are, that kind of identity you have. If you are marginalized, then that kind of identity you have and that kind of power you have. Okay, so it actually constitutes many ideas. But in post-structuralism, you can see that they are actually negating this fixedness of meaning. So if there is a sender, then definitely there is a fixed meaning that the sender approves, and there are many other meanings that the sender does not approve, right? So they are actually not going to this fixity of meaning, that we will see later. Deconstruction completely negate the idea of structure with a sender and margin, and also the existence of ultimate signifier. So in structuralism, you have seen that how Ferdinand de Saussure, the structuralist linguist, he came up with the idea that language is a system of sign, and every sign is a combination of signifier and signified. So there is a sound or a word and there is a meaning behind that comes in our mind while we hear or see this word or sound, right? So that is what signifier, and the word and the meaning, the word or the picture, that is the signifier, and the meaning that is there in our mind about this concept or this image, whatever is there as a signifier, that is the signified. So a signifier will lead to a signified, right? That's the way we perceive a sign. But here in post-structuralism, they negate the existence of any structure without with a sender. There is no sender. How? Because it is impossible for you to arrive at an ultimate signified. You just cannot arrive at an ultimate signifier. That means you cannot arrive at a single fixed meaning. And deconstructionist or post-structuralist, they emphasize the concept like difference and endless play of signifier and signified. So here this word play is very much important, because what is play in the field of deconstruction or post-structuralism? Play is something like that when you don't have a center in a structure, then you can see that there are various structures, there are various concepts emerging. So there will be a dominant structure in a text, and you are not considering that dominant structure as a central idea that is there in a text as the sole idea, as the single idea of prominence and importance, and you are looking for various kinds of meanings, where when you recognize that a text contains various plural and various types and countless number of meanings, then there is a play. There is a play between the signifier and signifier. There is a play between ideas basically. Okay, because there is a play means once you see a certain thing for at that moment, that is important. When you see another thing, the other thing will get important. So it's not that the dominant idea that is there will only get importance. Now every other concept that are there, that's how many works are studied under feminist literature. See, when we discuss about Othello, King Lear, we asked the question whether Shakespeare is a racist. When we talked about Two Gentlemen of Verona, not Two Gentlemen of Verona, Merchant of Venice. When we discussed about Merchant of Venice, his treatment, Shakespeare's treatment about Shylock is so doubtful. Anti-Semitic attitude is relevant there. So how come this happened? How come we can read it? This is not a dominant idea that he is discussing in that play. It is essentially anti-Semitic. So only post-structural, from the post-structuralist view, when we viewed and from a feministic kind of reading, when we had about this particular play, or any other text, we come up with that less dominant structures, less dominant ideas in a work. So that is what enables this play of signifier and signified. That means that you cannot fix to a particular meaning in a text or whatever text. It's not that text is only the written text or the printed book that we have, but text that which we can have around us, because we are perceiving everything in a linguistic form. So your room that you are sitting, your vehicle that you are sitting, everything is text, because you are perceiving these things, you are reading everything in a linguistic way through your language. Okay, so there is an endless play of signifier and signified. They also proposed the instability of meaning or the slippery nature of meaning, as meaning is not fixed. Okay, another concept they put forward was decentered structure. When you just remove the center from this structure, then there is no fixed meaning. There is an instability of meaning, a slippery nature for meaning, because lot of ideas will come up. If only there is a sender, then that sender will approve certain meanings and disapprove certain meanings and marginalize them, right? If there is no sender, there is no prominence to any particular idea, or any particular idea is not any particular idea is not marginalized, or anything has given more importance, then then we have a instability of meaning. That will lead to endless play of signifier and signified. So that is what the speciality of decentered structure. While we discuss about deconstruction and Derrida, we will discuss this later. Okay, so now comes, let's see what are some concept put forwarded by Jacques Derrida and his concept of difference and difference. Okay, language is never stable for post-structuralism. Meaning is not present in the sign, because a sign refer to another sign. And I'll read it first, okay, then I'll explain. Reading or interpretation is movement through the chain of signs, giving temporary meaning in each halt. Signifier will lead to more signifiers, not to the signified. So I'll tell you this. It is not possible for you to arrive at the ultimate signified. When you have a signifier, a word or a sound or an image, you just cannot arrive at the ultimate meaning that it provides. Why? Because meaning is not inside the sign, it is outside. Now, a cat, the meaning of the cat is not possessed by the word cat, right? Because we have used this word in order to signify an animal, this sign got its meaning, its signification. And when you read something and when you are trying to interpret something, you are actually moving through a chain of signs, and you are actually giving temporary meaning when you halt for a moment in order to interpret. So I'll tell you this, why this is happening. See, when you look at the word cat, and you don't know the meaning, and you are going to check this in your dictionary, okay, and what you will get in a dictionary? Another pool of words, right? In order to describe cat, there will be meanings like it is a carnivorous animal, 4 legs and fur all over his body, and it is an animal. So in that way you will have a pool of other words, and in order to you to understand the meaning of this word cat, you have to understand the meaning of all these words, right? And you have to form a mental image. And since you only get a pool of meanings in order to describe this particular word, what will happen? These words will lead to another set of words. It is not that this word and the meaning is actually giving you the ultimate signified, but the meaning is always deferred, postponed endlessly. When you go and see another words, then again you will get another pool of words. So meaning is not ultimate here. It will, a signifier will lead to another signifier, not to a signified. Okay, so in that way the meaning is temporary. In each reading, in each interpretation, you are actually giving temporary meaning, and signifier will lead to another signifiers, not to ultimate signified. So that's why the meaning is always deferred in the sense postponed. Okay, and you are only understanding the meaning. You have some idea of a word through differences. So understanding a meaning, understanding a word involves defer or postponement, deferring, and differing. Differing in the sense, a cat is not a bat is not a mat, or a cat is not a bat or mat or sat or anything else, but it is something different. So that uniqueness, that difference that it has with some other words, and the relation because of that words, because of that difference, that is what gives some sort of signification to this word. So the meaning is always differing and deferring every time. It is postponed and it is different. In order to give an idea of this difference and deferring tendency of language and meaning, he has came up with a word known as difference. So difference include two things, differing and deferring. Okay, the presence of identities or meaning is an illusion. So meaning is deferred and meaning is deferred. What does that mean? That means the identities that people have, or any identity that you have, any concept that you have, it is an illusion that you are having in the ultimate meaning. And it is also an illusion that there is a truth, there is an ultimate truth. Since there is no ultimate meaning, it is impossible to have, for you to have an ultimate truth about an event. When you take any event that is happening around, you just cannot have the whole full truthful perception of anything, because it's an illusion that language created for you, that you believe that you have an ultimate meaning about something or ultimate truth about something. For all, presence is tainted with the impurity of the absent and the excluded. See, there will be always something excluded when you understand something, right? When you explain the word cat, you just can only interpret this word to some extent using some other words. There will be always something absent and excluded in that definition, and that makes it deferred. And in order to what is there absent and excluded, for you to understand that, you will look at other words. Okay, you will look at other words and again other words. So in that way, the meaning is always, whatever kind of meaning you have about any kind of concepts or events or anything that is there in your mind, it is always tainted, it is always pure, it is always impure with some or other absent ideas or excluded ideas. Structure, like I said, there will be always, it's a unity and it's a thing that always contains a center and margin. So but post-structuralism and deconstruction especially just took this center from the structure. There is never a center without a margin. Without a margin we cannot locate a center. So that is how a center and margin coexist. If there is a center, that means there are some margins. If there is a margin, that means center is also there. So without the margins you cannot locate the center. That is, the existence of the center is not definite or unified, as it depends upon the existence of the margin. So existence of a center, that means a dominant idea. Take the example that we have in our society. See, caste system is a structure that we have in our society. There are some dominant classes and there are some lower caste people. So how this hierarchy is existing? Not because that there are some high class people. How come they are high class? Because there are some low caste people. And how come these low caste people exist? Because the sender, the powerful people, who all are they? They are the high caste people, and they are not approving these low caste people, and they are labeling and they are giving the identity of certain people as low caste people, and that's how they propagate it. So because of marginalized people, because of this low class or low caste people or lower strata people only, we have a caste hierarchy existing in our country. It's not that the sender is existing itself. Sender has power because of its own some merits. No, just because there is a margin, that's the only reason that we have a center. Here meaning is available through difference and deference. Difference and deference. Derrida coins the term difference to say both differ and defer. So by conjoining, in order to bring about the two idea differ and defer, Derrida coins the term difference, and Derrida was completely against defining something, because when you define something, you are actually closing the meaning. You are making the meaning rigid. Okay, but he says that no meaning is definite. Then how come you can define something? Okay, when you define something, you are actually losing the meaning, not gaining it. Here meaning is available through difference and deference. Derrida coins the term difference to say both differ and defer. So in order to signify these two words, differ and defer, in meaning creation, Derrida has came up with a term known as difference, and Derrida was completely against defining something, because when you define something, you are giving an ultimate meaning to that word, and that is just an illusion, because you just cannot arrive at a ultimate signified. So that's what Derrida's concept of meaning creations. Now let's see what Foucault says about power and knowledge and how it is relevant in culture. Foucault was interested in the ways power structures depend upon structures of knowledge, and how once they acquire knowledge, create subjects to be controlled. So Foucault studied many things about power and knowledge and how they are related with each other. So he says that power structures, they are actually depending upon knowledge. Knowledge is power, do you remember? So power structures depend upon their structures of knowledge, and once they acquire this knowledge, various power structures that we have in our society, once they acquire knowledge, they create a certain situation in which that they will control subjects, they'll make use of this knowledge in order to control people in a society. Foucault seeks to understand how certain sections of the population have been classified as criminals and insane. Of course, there are criminals who are actually breaking the law, but how certain population has been always, they are classified as criminal and insane, because these power structures, they are manipulating their acquired knowledge. Foucault argues that certain authorities who possess power in society produce knowledge about those who lack power. See, take the example of colonizers and colonized. Who created the identity of colonized? As subhuman, as uncivilized, as cultureless? It was colonizers. Colonizers created this identity of colonies. So they actually appropriated, and they actually used their knowledge in order to suppress, control the colonies, and because the colonies lacked power to produce this kind of knowledge. So power structures, authorities, they used their power to produce knowledge about those who lack power. Such a systems of knowledge is called as discourse. So discourse, obviously we have seen what is discourse. Discourse is a situation. It's a linguistic situation in which meaning is produced through representation, right? So this representation, this meaning creation will happen in a discourse, and that discourse is known as a system of knowledge. So these system of knowledge which are manipulated and exploited to suppress a group of people who lack power, that is known as discourse. So they used many discourses. They are making use of discourse of education. They are making discourse of religion. They are making use of discourse of medicine and science in order to suppress people and control people, so that they could maintain their dominance. So I have given here, actually not me, Derrida has given certain categories and discourse and authority, and how this authority use many devices in order to correct these categories. Okay, see, discourse is religion, and the category they are put forward is immortality. Immortality as a category comes under the discourse religion, because they always propagate that after the death you will have immortality. So if you want to go to heaven, you have to do good things in this earth, and more than good things, you have to be religious. You have to be obedient to the religious things, especially in Christian you can see that. You have to be away from sins. That's okay, fine, but they also say that you have to be obedient to the religious things, priest and also. Who is the authority of this discourse? It is priest. And the corrective is penitence. If you have done any wrongs or any sins, you won't get immortality and you cannot go to heaven. So what is the corrective thing that you have to do? You have to do penitence. Then the discourse of economics. The category is vagrancy, and authority is economist and social commentator. So these are the authority of economics as a discourse, and here the correctiveness is forced employment. After a certain period of your life, you just cannot be unemployed. You will be labeled as unworthy. You will be labeled as not good enough to live even. Okay, so forced employment is correctiveness in economics. Now we have the discourse of law. Who is the authority of law? Police or jury, judicial system, and criminals are the category. See here, criminals, they break the law, and what will be the corrective thing that they have to do? Imprisonment. They will be forced to underwent imprisonment so that they could obey the discourse of law. Okay, insane, psychiatry. So what is the authority here? Who all are the authority of psychiatry? Psychiatrist or psychoanalyst. So they will be put into asylum for corrective. Now medicine, the authority is physician, and the category is sick. They will put into hospital. Okay, so now these discourses, these knowledges, power knowledges, it's not that they'll use this thing to categorize certain people as insane or criminal, or they'll force their authority, but they will appropriate and misappropriate these kind of knowledges of that they practice in a discourse, and they will, because they have the authority, nobody will question them, nobody will actually go against them while they practice their corrective measures. Okay, so they will manipulate their knowledge because some other category, they don't know this knowledge. So they actually manipulate, exploit this knowledge about certain categories, about certain things against those who don't know it. So the manipulations that are happening in medicine, psychiatry, law, all these are examples of such exploitation. Knowledge and classification of systems such as medicine and the law or religion are therefore modes of social control. So more than serving people, making people's life easy, medicine, law, religion, these things are actually controlling people. These things are actually controlling our life too. People who lack the power to determine their lives and futures are said to lack the agency. See, the people, those who know this power, power of this knowledge and know how to exploit this power of knowledge, then they have the agency to produce and control the lives of people. But some other category people, they don't have the power to determine their life's actions, their futures, so they lack this agency and they are known as subalterns. So the people, the group of people in a society who don't have the agency to determine their life and structures, life and futures, they are known as subaltern. And subaltern was as a term which was put forwarded by Antonio Gramsci, and subaltern was popularized by Gayatri Spivak. The dominant groups use ideologies to keep the subaltern powerless. So how come they are actually, if this is the truth and they all know that they are dominant and we are suppressed and we are suffering because of it, even then how come they could manage it? How come they can maintain this structure, this hierarchy? How they can maintain it? Through ideologies. Again, take the example of colonizers and colonies. How come we believe that we are, even now we believe that we are somewhat worthless, somewhat uncivilized, somewhat not up to that standard when we compare ourselves to Western people? How come, take the example that we are adopting to Western culture, we are adopting to Western education system. How they maintain, while they were there, while the colonizers were there, here, how they maintained their power, not only because of the military power, because take the proportion of people present here as foreigners, as colonizers, and our population. Anyway, we are greater in number, we can easily overthrow them. Then how come they maintained their supremacy over us? Through ideologies. Ideologies they propagated through what? Ideologies they propagated through education. How ideologies they propagated through law system. Ideologies they propagated through religion. Ideologies they propagated to knowledge systems such as medicine, various kind of scientific inventions. So through every other institution, discourses, they propagated their dominance as their ideology. Not directly they have come to you and told you, see, you people are not good, we are good. See, we are good in these things. Okay, can you see? So it's our burden it's our burden to emancipate you. We have a kind of divine burden upon us to emancipate you, so that we could, for that reason, let us rule over you. So in that way, take the example of caste system. This high caste people, they are Brahmins, and they actually, what they said, not now but decades back maybe, they said that they have this access to holy scriptures, and they said that they have come out of the head of the the creator Vishnu, and they are dominant. Everybody believed that, because they were educated. The low caste people, they are not educated, they are workers, they are farmers, and they are actually doing very menial works there, and they don't have a money as such. So it was they denied many things. So through ideologies only, they are keeping these subalterns as powerless, and and keeping them as subalterns forever. Ideology is a system of beliefs and ideas that permit social formation. So these ideologies, through these ideologies, it's a kind of system of beliefs, or that actually makes it happen, the social formation. Ideology justifies oppression and social inequalities by suggesting that the lower classes have always been inferior, and persuades them of the validity of this belief. So it's like this ideology, through education, through law system, through religion, they will propagate this ideology, and they will emphasize that, see, this oppression and social inequality, they are inevitable, they are so natural. So since you are born like this, you have to suffer all these things, because it is inevitable, it is justiceful to be like this, because it is validated. Through education, through various discourses, these inequalities will be validated. This ideology circulates the identity and representation to naturalize the oppression. So this ideology that is circulated through various discourses like religion, education and all, these identity that they are created for subaltern people, powerless people, that are naturalized, and this oppression also get naturalized. See the example of women. Women themselves believe that They have to look after their family. They are the reason, they are responsible to do the chores of their house. They have to look after their kids. They have to be nurturing. They believe it like that. What should be more important for them? It should be always their family. They have to suffer everything without any question. So many women believe like that. How come they believe it like that? Because through these ideological operations. And this oppression and suppression is naturalized through the circulation of ideology. It's not that naturally came up like that. Now let's have the conclusion. So knowledge and power, they are linked. It's not that knowledge is so neutral. No, knowledge about anything that you have, it can really create some power above another group of people, those who don't know that knowledge. Power is based on assumptions, information, and analysis of people and events. Thus, power is about cultural conditions of knowledge. See, casteism is there in India, and it is so integral to our cultural conditions, right? Because of the cultural conditions that we have this caste difference, and because of that, these people, they could circulate this kind of ideologies about caste differences and dominances and all, and they can naturalize it. So the knowledge is actually culture basis, and we are using that knowledge in order to create this power structure. People who have power employ knowledge to discriminate against, imprison, or even kill those who lack power. We have discussed it already. Those who lack power, the subaltern, are oppressed and marginalized there, and their oppression and marginalized and maintained and propagated through this ideological discourses and institutions. The marginalization is rendered natural through a system of commonly circulated belief called ideology. See, take the example. If you are a woman, it's obvious that you cannot go out in night. If you are a woman, it's obvious that you have to, get married at so and so age. If you are a woman, it's obvious that you have to give priority to your family than to your career. If you are a woman, it's obvious that you have to be in a certain way, you have to dress in a certain way, you have to you cannot expose your body that way that you want to. If you are a man, take the example of man too. If you are a man, obviously you have to go out and work. If you are a man, obviously you have to have a work and look after your kids and family, and you have to marry when you are having a marry at the age of certain. If you are a man, obviously you cannot expose your your emotions and cry out publicly. So it's that all these beliefs, common beliefs are there. How come these common beliefs are so naturalized? Because it is circulated in such a way. This ideology is circulated, and it is circulated in such a way for centuries. It is circulating in that way only. That's how this is maintained, and this is quite so naturalized in the system of our culture. Okay, so whenever we think about the meaning, construction, and representation in a culture, it's not stable. It's only our belief and illusion that it is stable. And whatever knowledge that we have about certain things, it actually creates, if you have knowledge, that will make you more powerful. Okay, so these power structures that are there, power institutions and discourses that are there, they propagate their idea and manipulate and appropriate this knowledge in order to manipulate and exploit those who lack this kind of knowledge and access to this knowledge system. So I hope this was clear. I hope this video about post-structuralism and deconstruction in cultural studies is so clear for you. Comment the major points that you have learned about this particular video, about this particular concept that we have discussed today in the comment section, and that will make me happy by knowing that you have got some idea from this video. And anyway, YouTube videos have its own restrictions and limitations, so if you want to have full study materials related to NTU, GCNET, JRF, English language and literature, don't hesitate to visit my website www.highpoint.in. A 15% of off is going on in the fee structure. You can grab it now while it is there, and also along with the entire course thing that we are providing, the entire material that we are providing there, you can have 2 bonuses as weekly test and personal study guideline. To know more about it, WhatsApp me or call me in this number, and also have the free materials that we have provided there on my Instagram ID, Instagram page, and follow me in there too. So that's all about this video. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel in here, subscribe to it if you are interested, and also press the bell icon while you subscribe, because I don't want you to miss any of the updations that we are making in here. So that's all about it. Meet you in the next video session. Until then, bye bye, and keep loving literature. Ta-ta.